on to a consistent pattern of representing narrative space. In his chapter in this volume about the director's contribution to the omnibus film New York Stories, 1989, Murray Pomerantz states that his films are New York films, no matter their putative location. Whether set in New York or not, the strong urban flavor of Scorsese's movies can be traced to how, coincident with his taste for stylized expressionism, he grounds his stories in a diverse social reality through a documentary style of location shooting done on city streets and with colloquial language. Yet, despite this tension of expressionism and realism, his movies ultimately make a stronger gesture toward self-conscious illusion and virtuoso form as a reminder of their own fictionality and the power to assert Scorsese's and the viewer's control over the narrative, even as the characters, conversely, often find little success through their actions. Robert Kolker calls this self-reflexive tendency in Scorsese's films the director's statement about the existence of the camera and the eyes behind it, and their ability to create, own, and express ideas, the triangulation the film creates with itself, film history, and the viewer. The four most highly acclaimed films that Scorsese has made demonstrate this synthesis of illusion, style, and authorship. In Mean Streets, he combined noir spaces with French New Wave discontinuity style to represent the conflict faced by Charlie, Harvey Keitel, as he tries to reconcile his sexual desire for his girlfriend Teresa, Amy Robinson, and to move up by impressing this loan shark uncle with a Christian duty to follow the dictates of his faith against extramarital sex and to look out for his wayward friend Johnny, Robert De Niro. In Taxi Driver, Scorsese contrasts neo-realist images of New York with allusion to John Ford's captivity narrative in The Searchers, 1956, and compositions and camera movements drawn from Psycho, 1960, and Frenzy, 1972, to underscore the paranoid delusion with which Travis Bickle, De Niro, sees his world. In Raging Bull, realist mise-en-scène and noir imagery invoke Hollywood boxing films such as The Setup, 1947, and Somebody Up There Likes Me, 1950, to show how the anger created by economic exploitation not only fuels the intensity of De Niro's Jake LaMotta in The Ring, but also metastasizes outside it into sexism, racism, and homophobia. LaMotta expresses his frustration about the manipulation of his boxing career in violent jealousy about the relationships between his wife Vicky, Kathy Moriarty, and other men in a dark point-of-view shot of African-American rival Sugar Ray Robinson as a monstrous figure, and through aggressive threats to sodomize another opponent and one of the gangsters whom he sees as rivals for Vicky's affections. Goodfellas uses the crime film convention of gangsters living large to parallel wise guy greed and consumption with similar pathologies in 1980s American society as a whole. When David Chase pitched his gangster drama The Sopranos to HBO executives as about how America is a country so despoiled with materialism that it even makes a gangster sick, he was making a Scorsese-like illusion modeled on the descent into addiction and paranoia that brings down Ray Liotta's character at the end of Goodfellas. For a filmmaker of Scorsese's stature, surprisingly few books have been written on his work. One of the best is by Robert Casillo, who views Scorsese primarily in relation to his ethnicity and religious identity, describing the filmmaker as a chronicler of the epic of Italian America. Casillo regards Scorsese's Italian-American films as his best, stories of outsider status and the struggle for assimilation based on the experience of his Sicilian family in New York. For Scorsese, organized crime is an important part of Italian-American culture, and while Casillo acknowledges the criticism of negative stereotypes for Italian-Americans, he rejects the assertion that the mafia is an example of what Edward Banfield called the amoral familialism of Southern Italian culture, the greater allegiance to immediate family rather than community, government, or laws. Casillo instead views the mafia as a voluntary organization that requires the choice to separate from family in the interest of ambition, similar in that sense to how assimilation and acculturation for immigrants require the same separation and assertion of individual identity. As Casillo points out, Scorsese's film career was made possible because of an instance of such separation, in his case from the common practice among Italian immigrants of making children quit school and go to work to help support the family. Instead, Scorsese's education at New York University, NYU, not only provided him with the skills to make film his profession, but also formed the basis of his knowledge of the medium to allow.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.